This is the only episode where Lucy and Panda work together in order to win a competition, and at the same time, the only episode where Panda actually gets to do something with Lucy, and compared to the last two episodes and the following episode involving Lucy, I'm pretty sure that there were a lot of missed opportunities if this episode didn't end up happening. Say all you want, but at the same time, just by watching The Limo, which I am going to be reviewing next week, I have a lot to discuss once that video is uploaded. In the beginning of the episode, Panda is writing a song about Lucy. Since that he still has a crush on her even after he received a kiss from her from Lucy's brother, he's still trying everything he can in order to win her heart, regardless if it's not going to happen. And if any of you Panda fans who don't like these types of episodes involving Panda, for me personally, unlike my criticism towards Panda's date, my perspective on the next 3 episodes involving Lucy really shows that there's probably more than what Panda is trying to do, and the fact that his development towards certain characters actually goes to a different direction that people just don't usually see. And it's the fact that Lucy has been underutilized in this show. Say what you want, but at the same time, like I said in Panda's date, I stand up my point that Num Num and Lucy just didn't get much development because of the amount of screen time that they have. And Num Num had the most episodes than Lucy. I don't know if it's either the fact that they didn't want to cross some serious lines involving the relationship involving Lucy and Panda, but just by after watching these episodes centering around her, they can handle different taxes in order to make those episodes a reality, but it really felt like they did what they could in order to make this episode happen in some other way. But getting back to the episode's plot, Lucy come over to the cave to tell the bears that there's a dance-off at the Fall Harvest building so that the winner can win a grand prize of a new truck. And Lucy's old truck is having so much issues since she's been using that truck for so many times. And she needs a dancing partner, to which Panda steps in. But when Lucy shows off her moves as a dancer, she's terrible. Like, really, really terrible when it comes to the way she knocks into things and the fact that the dancing is so off. I will admit, I was like that when I was little, and just by watching this, it's gonna be a really difficult time for Panda to do some actual training with Lucy. And even with that, they didn't succeed during their training. And Panda needs to find a way to prevent him and Lucy to dance on stage in front of everyone by faking an injury. By this point, the episode became a little bit more predictable when it comes to a character faking something out so that their partner won't embarrass not only him but herself on the stage. Usually I would easily criticize this, but at the same time, just by how this episode is structured involving Panda actually doing something with Lucy for the very first time, as in becoming a duet or something in order for him to hang out with Lucy, I really think that this episode is really rare whenever we completely see characters return in order to have that character have the moment to shine with that character. And let me make one thing perfectly clear. If any of you guys are still going to criticize on the fact that Panda isn't going to improve no matter which goal he gets because he keeps making the same mistakes, and it's proof that after his relationship with Lucy has changed because he went out to have another goal which causes him and his brothers to be backlisted in the movie, he's still a panda, and when people don't usually point out what he's doing is wrong, isn't going to stop him from getting what he wants. It's one thing to have a character be invested with so many goals, just like characters involving other shows like Finn from Adventure Time. But unlike those characters who made some serious mistakes, Panda, on the other hand, only made a few, and wherever he actually has the opportunity, he just isn't ready for that opportunity because he just didn't expect it to go out the way he wanted it to be. The scene where Lucy came back into the cave to give Panda a picture of her and him as dance partners is a really good scene, especially that she found out that Panda was just faking just so that he doesn't embarrass himself and also herself on stage. Not to mention that she actually heard that in Panda's words that Lucy is the worst dancer in the world. I can guarantee you that I've seen this so many times, including from My Little Pony, but since that we don't go through the same plot of the main character just making a huge mistake and he needs to instantly get the other character who's been accused of what he just said in order to set things right. With this episode being 11 minutes, they actually knew how to handle the one time a lot more better when Panda returned so that he and Lucy can dance on stage. Granted, Lucy was upset when she found out about what Panda said to her about her being the worst dancer, but it's the same as Celeste finding out that Twilight spoke to others that she was the worst actress in all of Equestria. But unlike in that episode, in this episode, Panda didn't mean to do that, and he didn't rage out like what Twilight did, which is one of the reasons why I didn't like horseplay from My Little Pony. For one thing, we don't usually see a lot involving Panda and Lucy on screen that much, unlike the times that they do off screen. And when I completely see moments like this, while Lucy is mostly upset that Panda didn't tell her the truth earlier, and the fact that this didn't lead to a huge departure between the two, it really makes this episode a lot more focused when you completely see that Panda is improving as a character, and yet at the same time, he just wants to set things right for not only for himself but also for Lucy. If only if we had more episodes involving Lucy and also developing her character when she slowly finds out about Panda's crush towards her, it will be a lot more interesting. It's just really a shame that she only gets 4 appearances throughout the majority of this show. Well, including more everyone's too, but it doesn't really count when all she does is saying the main theme of this show. Anyway, remember when Panda was writing a song in the beginning of the episode involving Lucy? Well, he plays it in front of everyone in the stage while he and Lucy dances on stage. And even if they're terrible dancers, they still manage to win even with the destruction that they cause, and the fact that even when they won, they had to sell the truck that cost so much money that they can easily pay the fine of the destruction of what they caused on stage. It may be disappointing for them that they didn't win the truck, but Icebell and Grizz stole the truck. And all that Icebell said, centering around Panda's question involving, is that the truck that we had to give back? Is get in. Yeah. Icebell just said get in. And that what makes this ending a lot more better when they add this joke along with the moment between Panda and Lucy. And as for Panda apologizing to Lucy and she was okay with it, I'm pretty sure that they could have done a lot more with it when it comes to what Lucy felt about learning about the truth, but I'm pretty sure they try way too hard to make sure that these two characters don't go together. And let me tell you that it involves one of the reasons why I didn't like the limo as much, even if it hits the right notes on making a normal episode for Panda to learn something that he shouldn't be mad towards Lucy's boyfriend. But like I said, I'm gonna be reviewing that episode next week, so they're gonna have to wait until I feel about that episode in general. This episode may not be as good as Lucy's brother, but for me personally, I can say that it's a good step involving the relationship involving Panda and Lucy. Say all you want that the fact that the next episode settling on Lucy ends up leading the relationship nowhere, but you'll just wait until I upload that video next week. I give this episode a 7.25 out of 10.
Let's get this started!